Looks like we're missing a few people. Yosef, right? Okay. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for some of the other boys to come in. Now, guys, today's a very special and unique day. It's a very special day. It's a very unique day. Okay? Does anybody know why, by raise of hands, why is today a very special day and a very unique day? Itamar. Okay, and therefore?
It's a holiday.
Okay, which holiday is Monday? Rosh Hashana. So today is Erev Shabbos, but it's also, in a certain sense, it's Erev Rosh Hashana also. This is the last day that we're going to see each other before Rosh Hashana. And basically, Shabbos, right? We have Shabbos, then Sunday is Erev Rosh Hashana. So pretty much today is in a certain sense, it's like Erev Rosh Hashana. So being that it's on Erev Rosh Hashana, I think it's worthwhile. It's something that we've gone through with some of the boys that have been here in the past. But I did have the merit. I had the special merit to have a conversation this morning with a boy who this is his first year here. And it was an opportunity to review the basic principles, the basic ideas that are necessary to be able to live a proper life. Very interestingly, the Mesilas Yesharim, by raise of hands, who's ever heard of the Mesilas Yesharim? Who's heard of the Mesilas Yesharim? The Ramchal? Anybody by raise of hands? The Ramchal, the Mesilas Yesharim? Okay. The Mesilas Yesharim is perhaps the number one, the best known, most famous, most learned Musar Sefer in the world. What does it mean, Musar Sefer? Okay. Musar, okay, it means rebuke. But it's really more than rebuke. It is the focus on the ideas of the Torah which bring a person to growing and to becoming better people. And when you focus on the ideas and you focus on the particular parts of the Torah, which all the parts of the Torah help you to become a better person, but there are particular parts of the Torah, there are particular ideas, particular areas where the Torah, where the rabbis and where the Torah gives a person advice, direction for life as to how to become a better person. So the Mesilas Yesharim, which was written by the Ramchal, who, those of you who don't know of him, don't know this, but those of you who have heard of him, perhaps don't know, the Ramchal was of the greatest Kabbalists, certainly of the last few hundred years. His knowledge of the world, his knowledge of not just this world, but of the next world, his knowledge of the spiritual forces of the world, he had the big picture. He really got it. He really knew what's going on in this universe. Perhaps more than almost anyone else. And he wrote this book, Mesilas Yesharim, which is the path of the straight through life. It's not a Kabbalistic book, but it's coming from someone who really gets it. It's coming from someone who really knows what's going on. And he, in this book, he sets down, if you don't mind drinking a little quieter, he sets down in this book, what are the ideas, what is the path that a person should take through life. And he recommends at the beginning of this book, he says that the benefit of reading this book is not from reading it through once. Who here has ever read Harry Potter? Please raise your hand. You read Harry Potter? Who here has read Harry Potter many, 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 many times? Okay, some of you have. Okay, I know some people who have read Harry Potter many, 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 many times. And let me tell you something. They know Harry Potter cold. Okay? In fact, There's some people that live near me that they have these competitions where they'll talk about different nuances, different trivia about Harry Potter, and they'll try to stump each other. Okay? They'll try to stump each other about Harry Potter. So they reviewed Harry Potter many, many, many times. The Ramchal says you should review the Mesilas Yesharim many, 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 many times. Why? Because it's not just the knowledge, it's not just to read it once, but you have to incorporate it into you. It has to become part of who you are. And again, like Harry Potter, or like we had last year, we had some boys that were expert at Marvel movies, at superhero movies. People who are really into it, they don't want to just know what happens, right? If I watch a Spider-Man movie, I only care about what happens at the end. But if Spider-Man is like everything to you, then you want to know what happens at the end, and what happens in the middle, and then what happens in the beginning, and you want to really review it again and again and again, because you want all that to become part of you. Mesilas Yesharim recommends, and it sounds pretty logical, that if you take life seriously, then you better review the purpose of life again and again and again and again and again. And that was the opportunity that I had this morning, was to review with a boy that just came to our school the purpose of life. And I asked this boy, I said, why are you here on this world? Why? And you know what his response was? After a little bit of give and take, I was so impressed. He said, I don't know. Who here doesn't know why they're here on this world? Awesome. Awesome. Why? Because that's the beginning of recognizing that you have a problem. You're here on this world. You're alive. Why are you here? What's the point? So let me tell you two of the answers that he gave me, and let's just speak them out. He said, I think I'm here on this world to bring Mashiach. I said, what? Why would God put you on this world to bring Mashiach? Let him not put you on this world and no Mashiach. You're not on this world to bring Mashiach. So then he gave another stab at it. He said, I'm here on this world to serve him. Serve him? God? God of the world? Is he like defensive? Is he insecure? He needs to create these little robots to say, you are the greatest. You are the king. You are the greatest. Well, he doesn't need that for nothing. God doesn't need that. He doesn't need you to serve him. My daughter, sometimes when she's playing house, she'll arrange all of her little dollies and all of her little figurines, and she's the mommy. And all of her dollies have problems that she has to take care of. And that makes her feel good. It makes her feel important. Now she's the mommy that has to take care of all the problems. God doesn't need that. God doesn't need us to serve him. He doesn't need us to make him feel good. So why are we here? So the Ramchal says, he tells us why we're here. And some of you are raising your hands and you're saying that you know, which is wonderful, and we've discussed this before. But I just want to be able to, time is a little bit short, so I'm just gonna fill it in. But I really want you to think about this, because this is like the Ramchal says, this is not something which is just to be discussed one time. This is not something which is just to be learned one time. It's something which needs constant review, constant strengthening, constant clarifying. You know why you're here on this world? You're here on this world to grow, to become better. You see, this world is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to become better. Better at what? We're going to get at. We're going to get to later. But it's an opportunity for you to become better, for you to grow. And this boy who I was talking to, and again, I was really so touched. And it was such an amazing conversation. I said, what do you think it means to grow? And he said, it means to be able to do something that you couldn't do before. And that's exactly what it is. To do something that you couldn't do before. You see, all of us, before we came onto this world, we were up in the heavens, somewhere in the world of the neshamas, the world of the souls, whatever that means. And what were we like? I'll tell you what we were like. We were like exactly how we were born. That's what we were like. Perhaps we were a little bit more knowledgeable. But the fundamentals of what we were, if you wanted to know the character, the essence of what we were, it was exactly as we were born. And Hashem put us into this world as an opportunity to grow. Think of it as like a boot camp. Meira in the office, okay, she has a son who's in Army boot camp. Okay, he's in South Carolina. He's training to be part of the Army. So I saw him right before he went into the Army, and I saw him, he took a leave of absence, and I saw him in the middle. Let me tell you something. He grew. Did he grow taller? Did he grow fatter? Did he grow stronger? Somewhat. He certainly grew stronger. But he changed. He changed as a person. He grew. And you can see that.
Thank you.
He's able to do things now that he wasn't able to do before. Did anyone ever hear of the Navy SEALs boot camp? You've heard of the Navy SEALs boot camp? Okay. If you don't know what it is, there's a famous book, I think it's called SEAL Team 6, okay? Where they go through what the Navy SEAL boot camp is. And you know what the Navy SEAL boot camp is? They take the greatest warriors, the greatest soldiers from different branches of the Army, and they bring them to, I believe it's in San Diego, they bring them to this boot camp where the point of the boot camp is two things. First of all, to figure out who's really the toughest, who's really the best. But there's another part of it too, which is to build you up, to make you tougher. You see, when you have your hands tied and there's a weight that's holding you under the water and you can't breathe, and you have the presence of mind to figure out how to escape from that and get to the top, that builds you. You grow. You grow in your ability to be able to perform under pressure. And that is basically what Hashem did for all of us. And that's the opportunity that Hashem gave to all of us. Hashem said, Yaakov Yoel, you're wonderful. I'm going to send you down into a world which is going to present to you challenges. And those challenges you have to overcome. And in overcoming those challenges, you're going to become better. You're going to become stronger. You're going to become greater. That's what this is all about. And that's how we were finally able to get to the point of why I was talking to this boy, which was having to do with being good and kind to the people around us. And again, the level of honesty and the level of self-awareness that this boy had, it was so impressive. I was so impressed. I asked this boy, I said, if you're nice and good and kind to someone else, who gains the most? And what did he say?
Me.
The other boy, of course. If I'm kind and I'm good and I'm nice to him, he gains, not me. But at the end of the conversation, when I asked that question again, it was very clear. When you're kind and when you're nice and when you figure out how to be v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, to love someone else as yourself, as best as possible, like Moshe David is saying, you grow the most. Hashem gave you the opportunity to grow, so he put other people in your life. And he put them in your life, and he told you, what's the goal? The goal is love them as you do yourself. But it's so hard. He's so annoying. He has funny red hair. I don't like this guy. Hashem says, sorry, that's not your choice. You gotta like him. You are commanded to love him as yourself. As you work towards accomplishing that goal, you are changing. You are becoming better. And you are taking advantage of this opportunity of this boot camp called life. And that's what it's all about. Which is a perfectly appropriate thing to discuss for both this week's Parsha and for Rosh Hashana. in this week's parsha, you know what Moshe tells the Jewish people? He tells the Jewish people that you might have a day, there might be a time, that you're going to be so far, so distant, so removed from Torah and Yiddishkeit, from the proper values and the proper way of living life, that you're going to look at it and you're going to say, how is it possible? How could I become like these great men whose pictures are on the wall? How could I become like Rav Aaron Leib Steinman? How could I become like Reb Chaim Kanievsky? How could I become like them? It's too impossible. I'm too removed. I'm very, very, very far away from that. And you know what Moshe says? Moshe says, it's not as difficult as it seems. You can grow. You could become better. And that's what life's all about. Growing, becoming better. Day by day, step by step. And you might have a step forward and 2 steps back, but that's fine too. But you'll be on the path. You'll be growing. And that is what Hashem is looking for from us on Rosh Hashanah. You see, if somebody is at halfway up the mountain, but he's steadily slipping down the mountain, and you have someone else who's on the bottom of the mountain, but he's steadily climbing the mountain, who's going to get to the top of the mountain first? Who do you think? Person A, he's almost there. He's almost at the top of the mountain, but every day he's steadily slipping down. Or person B, who's at the bottom of the mountain, but every day he's taking 1 step up the mountain. Who's going to get to the top of the mountain first? Amit?
Person B.
Person B. Because it doesn't matter where you are now. It doesn't make a difference where you are now. The difference and what Hashem's looking for is that where are you headed? Every day a step in the right direction is much more important than what you look like right now. Someone that I respect tremendously, he was the principal of a high school. And some of the boys in his high school, they dressed very funny. They looked very strange and they looked very weird. And the mothers of one of the boys in the high school complained to the principal. And she said, I don't understand. I sent my boy to yeshiva. I want him to look like a yeshiva boy. And you know what this principal said? Something so smart. He said, ma'am, did you ever do construction on your house? She said, yeah. You did construction on your house? Okay. So when you renovated your house, you took a house which looked good, and then you smashed down the walls. What are you doing? Are you trying to make the house nicer or worse? What are you doing? She said, oh, you need to smash down the walls to be able to build them up nice. He said, exactly. He said, it's under construction. It's in process. And when it's under construction, when it's in process, things are going to look a little funny. They're going to look a little bit shabby. But it's headed in the right direction. And that's what's important. So, before Rosh Hashanah, if every boy in your own life, in your own world, if you could even think about where could I maybe make a step in the right direction, a small step, something which is going to eventually bring me to the right place. If it's even thinking and being aware of how the way that I act affects the people around me. If a person even thinks about that, that's already a big step in the right direction. You can't know how you're treating people around you, and you can't know how to be good to other people if you're not even aware that you might be hurting them and you might be rude to them. If a person can even think about the fact that maybe I shouldn't do something when I feel like doing it, that's a huge step in the right direction. And that's what we should be focusing on now. And that is how we're going to get to the top of the mountain. Ethan?